Okay, guys, we're going to look at this. What's happening in Somalia? What's happening in Minnesota? What's going on? Let's find out.
House Majority Whip Tom Emmer, meanwhile, is calling to investigate a report published by the Manhattan Institute. It claims Minnesota tax dollars are being sent to Somalia and ending up in the hands of a terror group. Meanwhile, President Trump writing on Truth Social, I am, as President of the United States, hereby terminating, effective immediately, the temporary protected status for Somalis in Minnesota. Somali gangs are terrorizing the people of that great state, and billions of dollars are missing. Jeff Paul has the story for us live from Los Angeles. Hi, Jeff.
Hey there. Well, yeah, Congressman Emmer says if this is true, it would not only be a grave national security concern, but a slap in the face to the hardworking, law-abiding people of Minnesota. This all stems back to a single report published by urban policy magazine City Journal, which is published by conservative think tank the Manhattan Institute. The report, citing unnamed sources, alleges funding that was supposed to go to state programs to help with housing and feeding people was being stolen. It claims some of that money was then sent to Somalia through a complex network where it eventually, according to the City Journal, ends up aiding the al-Qaeda-linked terror group al-Shabaab. Congressman Emmer, along with 3 other members of Congress, have now signed a letter addressed to Minnesota's U.S. Attorney demanding answers.
You simply can't continue doing this. It's one thing to bilk the Minnesota taxpayers. That's bad enough. But to ship the money to a terrorist organization, al-Shabaab, I mean, any average Minnesotan should not want to put up with that at all.
Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar spoke at the state's capitol yesterday with other state leaders. While she didn't directly mention the allegations of that report, she responded to Trump's announcement last week that he was terminating temporary protected status for Somalis in Minnesota.
There is not a single evidence that the president or his coonies have put forth that there are any single resource from taxpayers in Minnesota that has gone to aid and abet terrorism. That language is dangerous.
A DOJ official tells Fox News it takes fraud of any kind extremely seriously, and this referral will be thoroughly investigated. Sandra?
All right, guys, this is getting crazy. If there's any truth in this, and we have an FBI and the top bureau agencies look into this. I'm tired of this bipartisan thing between Democrats and Republicans. This is America thing. This is the United States. This is a country, sovereign nation thing. These last 30 years, I'm gonna put this out here. These last 30 years, we have seen a lot of things going on in the American system with people going against um, government agencies and people in office and not liking that person and then going against the whole system. This is not cool. We always had America's been a free nation, the most freest nation on the planet Earth. We always had confrontations, but there was a respect line. It seemed the last 30 years, the respect line has dissolved until pretty much nothing. And this is not good. This last 30 years of people, we have brought this country has opened up borders, brought people in here. They haven't like they used to do in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and 80s. They haven't vetted these people, and as people grow up in America and they get in positions of city government, state government, federal level, county, and they're not really have an ideal respect and love for America because they never everything was given to them. And I'm not talking about one person. If you go back before the 80s, 70s, you can go to the 80s, actually 90s even. The people appreciate coming to this country because they know the value of being an American citizen and what that brought them, the opportunities they brought them, um, and they cherish that. It seems this generation do not cherish the opportunity to be in this American country. Us native-born Americans, we understand our ancestors goes back to the beginning of this nation, wars that we had to fight to create this opportunities for American citizens, things we had to do internally and externally. It seems like the Civil War turned the Civil War over other tax and property and land and slavery, all that jammed up into one. It was more, and I don't want to see another Civil War, but it seems to be looming because of this spoil the last 50 years, my generation, spoilness, um, and not really understand history. They talk about this guy, this President Trump. This is the president. I'm ex-military, so I'm different. So I kind of be mindful that I support anybody in the office of President of the United States, the POTUS. Whoever the POTUS is, I'm going to support them. I'm American. I'm going to support them, period. So I got to watch my opinion on that because it's kind of, in a sense, biased due to the fact that I am military. It's like the movie that came out with Wakanda when she told the queen, "No, I'm here. Support the throne. I wish you the best. Godspeed with you, protection, but I'm going to stay here at this throne." That's the role of a soldier. Whoever sits in that throne holds the power, and soldiers must remain in order, no matter what you feel and all you think, and that's your personal stuff. If you're a soldier, you're a soldier, and you stand by that oath you took. Stand by that seat of power to keep law and order in place and the sovereignty of this nation. So that's a separation. So I'll be mindful of that. So that's why I'm watching what I'm saying now. Um, but we have definitely seen a turn down of the love for this country. I listen to people on buses, cities, in the streets, barbershops, and I hear them talking. It just amazes me. There's so much privilege they have, and they don't realize the people that came before them gave them their privileges, died in wars, and they just cancel. They don't even see they canceling it out, and we got to get a hold of this. We have to get the hold of this because this is getting too far out there. Let's continue watching this video, this news report, and reacting to this. And I'm just saying something has to be done. And if there's any truth in this got to be taken to the highest level and dealt with, period. I don't care about your feelings, your emotions, just got to be dealt with at the highest level. Let's go.
Jeff Paul live on that out of LA for us. Thank you.
I want to bring in Douglas Murray, New York Post contributor. Douglas, nice to see you and good morning. 1991 is when the temporary status was granted. Somalia was a mess here to call for too. Protected status was first granted in 1991 when the country was torn apart by civil war and its national government collapsed. The designation has been extended many times since, many times, more than 30 plus years. The president wants to terminate these protection orders. That's where we are.
Yes, because the City Journal report says and shows that there has been massive fraud, defrauding of American taxpayers, including of things like COVID-era loans and much more, and that some people in the Somali community in Minnesota have sent money from those schemes back to Somalia, and that some of them have found their way into the hands of the al-Qaeda-linked terrorist group al-Shabaab. This is an incredibly serious report, an incredibly serious allegation. It suggests that money paid by American taxpayers could have found its way into the hands of an al-Qaeda-linked terrorist group. And in any case, even if it is simply a case of fraud in which people were sending money from American taxpayers back to their families in Somalia, is still fraud. Somalia has been in a state of civil war for decades, but there is no reason why that should be a defense for defrauding the American taxpayer. And that's what the president has said he's going to address.
And now the big question is, where's Governor Walz? I mean, the president's directly calling him out on this.
Well, yes. And I mean, to hear Congresswoman Ilhan Omar there, you'd have thought that once again, this is purely an issue of language. She says the language about this is dangerous. It's not about the language. It's about the facts. It's about whether or not American taxpayers taxpayer money, and the American taxpayer has been defrauded by members of the Somali community in Minnesota. And by the way, it has to be said that if people like Ilhan Omar want to actually address problems, they should get to the facts themselves. Cases like that, the abuse of the welfare system, the abuse of the housing system, has been endemic in Somali emigre communities across Europe and other parts of the world where they've gone. It's sadly, I mean, people bring certain things from the culture that they come from to the countries they come to. And if they come from a very, very violent country where there has been enormous amounts of defrauding and much more going on, and they come to countries like America, then sadly some of those members of that community will continue those kinds of practices. That's something that anyone representing the Somali community in America should address, rather than attacking the language or anything else.
I find, maybe this is a coincidence, maybe it's not, but I find it interesting we're talking about this topic today when there's reports about U.S. Special Forces in northeastern Somalia today on the ground going after ISIS-linked members in northeastern Somalia. Here's Chris Rufo talking to Laura last night about his reporting.
I'm told by sources in Minnesota that there are dozens of these fraud schemes. There are investigations that are underway now. This might just be the tip of the iceberg, and this is probably the highest density of fraud anywhere in the United States. President Trump took the right action. I think a lot more needs to be done. He needs to review all of the refugee and citizenship applications for the Minnesota Somalis.
He throws a lot of things out there that need answers now, Douglas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't care what country you come from. If you don't have the respect of this nation at large, and you don't have the values that we share here, then go back to where you're from or go to another country. And it seems that what Ilhan Omar have said, and seems said so many times. Um, I don't know how she's sitting where she's sitting at, but um, it is what it is. And then, if this the facts, then why is she not focused on the facts as a representative? Why is she not looking into this? If the president of the United States has tapped into this, and he had different departments under the federal government has tapped into this, and why are you not speaking about none of this? If it's true, look at the facts. You're a representative of that Minnesota. Look at the facts, and put your report, put your team together, and look into this. This is your state. Unless you don't see this as your state, unless you don't see this as your responsibility as a representative, this is the confusion. This and with this news people here, they're saying there's facts. There's collateral facts that shows you there's something going on here, and you're not doing anything about it. Why are you there? This is questions that need to be answered. The Minnesota people have spoken quietly and outwardly have spoken. They're tired. So what's going to happen? Let's find out.
Absolutely. One of the things is, if people are claiming that they need to be in the United States or other Western countries because of asylum, that they are fleeing the violence in Somalia, then why would they come to countries like America and then send money back that fuel the very groups that are destabilizing the country of origin? It makes absolutely no sense to justify that or to allow it to continue unaddressed. At the very least, people like Governor Walz have to address this. This is not an issue of political correctness or of language or anything else. It is about whether or not the American taxpayer has been defrauded. And then the next one, which is whether or not we are being defrauded in America by people who are then using our kindness and our desire to give people our generosity and much more against us. In any case, this should be addressed. But in this case, it's particularly serious because there's a national security problem. Why should American troops be addressing an issue which is not being addressed here at home in places like Minnesota?
Douglas Murray, thank you very much. Good to see you.
Thank you, Douglas. More to come on this.
Okay.
Hey, it's Will K.
I don't know, guys. I just feel that this is crazy. This is really, we got to address this. And first, representatives should be addressed in that state and just over that area. and the governor should be addressing it. We haven't heard nothing from the governor and representatives in detail. So we need to see what's going to be happening here. Without further ado, let's find. I don't know. What's your opinion? Leave a comment, subscribe, put your notification on, and let's move forward to the next one. This is crazy. Minnesota, what's happening? Minneapolis, what's happening?